Hum. Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum. Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum.
Light rays and nectars, yellow in color, emanate from the navel chakra of Guru Buddha and absorb into our navel chakra, revitalizing our qualities. And as such, we develop humbleness, our own identity without having to compare ourselves to other. A state of inner balance is pure, where we don't feel neither superior nor inferior to others. We develop generosity, the generosity of giving materially, of giving love, of giving protection and the Dharma. We develop equanimity and as such eliminate miserliness and arrogance.
Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum. Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum. Siddhi Hum. Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum.
At the secret chakra, green light, green light rays and nectars emanate from the secret chakra of Guru Buddha and absorb into us. Is giving us our blessings and helping us develop the joy for the happiness of others, and giving us the clarity of our actions, and we eliminate every doubt and every sense of envy.
Om Guru Buddha Siddhi Hum. 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 Inspire.
Inhale and exhale.
Guru Buddha ci sorride.
Guru Buddha smiles at us and comes towards us. He becomes as small as a thumb, sits joyously on our crown chakra, enters through our crown, enters and goes down joyously through our central channel and sits on an 8-petaled lotus flower with a sun and a moon cushion at our heart chakra. As he sits at our heart, our body, speech, and mind on a subtle and very subtle level become inseparable from those of Guru Buddha. We experience a deep state of peace that we allow ourselves to leave our ordinary identity aside, and we allow ourselves to experience the inner state of Guru Buddha. We rest our mind in a deep state of peace, harmony, and joy.
Lama Rinpoche Dagi Chivor Peme Den Shulam Kadrin Chembe Gone Jesonte Koson Togin Mondruba Tsedoya Soya Palden Tsawe Lama Rinpoche Dagi Drimpara Peme Ten Shuala Kadrin Chembe Gone Jesonte Koson Togin Ondruba Tsedoya Soya Palden Tsawe Lama Rinpoche Dagi Ninkar Pede Ten Shula Kadrin Chembe Gone Jesonte Chanchuba Nimpe Pardo Tempare Shun.
We allow ourselves to rest our mind in the mind of Guru Buddha. We experience a deep state of peace, of satisfaction, harmony, inseparable from a deep joy, intense joy. Inhale and exhale. Gradually, keeping our concentration, keeping the awareness of our breath, we open our eyes and we move our hands. What we just did in just a few words is a simplified version, no, not even, of what's called the practice of Guru Yoga. And after we'll explain it better. But I wanted to take advantage of an opportunity that we have. What happens when we're focused on something and then we hear noise? Our mind, does it stay where we want it, or is it called by our hearing? It's distracted, and it occupies some inner space, doesn't it? This inner space, according to the type, according to the value that we give to that sound, it's going to generate an inner reaction, a different sensation, attraction, aversion, or indifference, right? So this is a very clear example of how we are used to being, how we're used to being taken by our senses or trying to concentrate on something. I mean, the more gross it is, the more our senses go to that thing. The more concentration we have, the more we're able at the beginning to ignore. In the sense, it's there. There's form. There's this sound. There are other objects present, but those objects are not, how can I say, they're not given importance. They don't take up our space. And so one maintains an attitude of indifference. Something that's very interesting is that space, the space that distractions take up in us, what determines how much space it takes? The object itself, or the value that we give to that object? The value that we ourselves attribute to that object. And what's interesting is that the objects that are called so-called interferences, etc., what gives more value to the object is the fact that it shouldn't be there. When I have my vision of, as we all do, my view of how things should be. I have this idea, for example, that noise shouldn't be there, and at that point, when I think it shouldn't be there, and then it is there, not only is there the physical space of hearing the noise itself, but there's also a kind of inner rebellion, because we are thinking things are not the way they should be. This is not how it should be. And this takes up even more room, more space than the actual sound, because this can also bring an inner process of why is it like this? It shouldn't be like this. So this dialogue, this conversation begins, an inner process where the mind, you know, from from what was from what was the space that was taken up by the sound is now taken up by also a mental space. So a key when we try to meditate, when we go to meditate, when there are interferences, sounds, smells, or pain, what whatever there is, and there will it will all be there. One of the first thing to try to develop is a kind of neutrality towards that, a kind of indifference towards these objects. So I don't. It's there, but I don't get into it. If it's good, if it's bad, I don't give space to it. Don't judge. I try not to occupy also a mental space, you know, in addition to the space that's taken up by the sensory object, because then the mind starts making correlations, not just to the present moment, but to the past and to the future. When and even when that sensory object is finished, the mind is still going. Instead, if we're able to generate a kind of indifference, a neutrality towards sensory objects that appear to us, at that point we give less value to them. And then it's easier to bring our mind back to the object of perception. It's also for this reason that, generally speaking, at one technique at the beginning, it's said that at the beginning it's good to find a place where there are fewer few distractions, and then as you develop more and more concentration, you can stay where there are more distractions, because then the objective is to keep our concentration independently of how many sensory objects there are around us. This is something very important. So if we know how to see these situations in a certain way, these situations that seem like interferences, they can be great opportunities too. It depends on how we live them. But I remember that there's a practitioner in India, a wonderful practitioner, and looked for a place to. No, first was in the north of India in the mountains, and after a while he said, "No, I can't stay here. There's too much noise from the river. There was a kind of waterfall and a constant sound, and his mind was taken by that sound." So he said, "No, I can't stay here. I need more silence." And then found a hut in the mountains, where in the area of Manali, and there was an apple orchard there. In this small house that they used for storing the apples. I had some friends. They restructured the minimum necessary where he could do retreat. And at a certain point, it seemed beautiful. But then, there was the noise of the birds. And what we said before, that there's no place where there is absolute silence. And even if we close ourselves up in the meditation bunker underground, we'll hear the sounds of our own body. So what's important is not closing ourselves up and protecting ourselves from the world, but learning how to be and giving the right importance to everything. So when there's noise here or something here, something there, and there will be, because if it's not the sound, it's going to be the smell, and if it's not the smell, and then it's the feeling. It's not the right cushion, and my knee hurts, and then we start the dialogue. Instead, there's pain in my knee. It's there. My foot has fallen asleep. It's normal. Sooner or later it's going to wake up. Just leave it. And the more importance we give to these sensory objects, the more space they take up. The more we're able to the more neutrality and indifference that we have, then the easier it is to then place our mind again on the object again and again. There are some places that are favorable to the meditation practice, and especially at the beginning, one should try to diminish objects of distraction. Um, of course, it's difficult to meditate in the middle of the living room where the children are playing and others are watching TV. Of course, that would be be very difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. I mean, we need to protect ourselves, but one shouldn't depend exclusively on conditions. And when there is something, we need to try to dedicate to generate a kind of neutrality towards it. This is let's just wanted to take advantage of this opportunity of this moment where there was a lot of noise outside for construction. I'd say that let's try in these 2 days to give importance. I want to practice more together instead of giving lots of explanations. Let's stop now for lunch. And today at 3 o'clock, today is an important day for us. It's the birthday of Trita Rinpoche, the reincarnation of Lama Ganchen's root guru, Lama Ganchen, our master, who was here several times, gave very important teachings, initiations, empowerments, and I've had the good luck of being close to him, and he has, how can I say, he really he stupefied me in a good way. There are very few people who have been able to show an aspect that just makes me say, "Wow!" Goes beyond my own ability to understand and to be. And every time I was with Chögyam Rinpoche, he had this way, the way he showed himself, the way he showed his worldview. They, they were always a few steps ahead of what I was able to see, without getting into the importance of him in his previous incarnations. Which is incredibly important, but our own experience is important too. And I hope that Chögyam Rinpoche can come as soon as possible to us. There is his picture to the right of Lama Ganchen. That's his actual incarnation, his previous incarnation. Instead, here you can see on the wall to my left. And so his birthday, we should rejoice for the life of that person. I mean, that's how I see the meaning of the birthday is that we celebrate the fact that he was born, that he's there, and when it's our birthday, we rejoice and give value to our own life. And so we'll have a very brief traditional ceremony at Samsung. It's called. We call it Kikisoso. After lunch, in this area between the temple and the center, we will make an incense offering, and then we do this ceremony where we throw the flour into the air. Traditionally, it's tsampa, barley flour. But what I want to remind everyone is that it's great for us to understand, to finalize, understand, listen, read, study. That's great, and I like it too. But we need we need many moments where we allow ourselves just to be, where we can experience without necessarily having to understand anything. This is something for that regarding meditation practices, for example, we have this tendency, I'm generalizing, in our modern Western world, we have this tendency to want to have control over our experiences, and we do something, we want to understand it. But some things, before understanding, we need to experience. We need to do it. And once we're able to experience it, then we can understand, because the danger in meditation, for example, is wanting to understand everything. Then afterwards, then when we have the experience, our experience stays within the limits that we gave to our understanding. I don't know if that is clear. It's like I go and see someone, and I think I know this person well, and I don't open myself up to see. I don't open myself to see other aspects of this person. In, Instead, if I go with fresh eyes and I experience that person, then I'll see sides and aspects of that person that I wouldn't normally see, thinking that I know him or her. So it's really important to let ourselves go a little bit, to relax and allow ourselves to experience. This is something, we need to dedicate time for this. This afternoon first we'll have that brief ceremony, then we'll do the practice of self-healing completely. It's a meditation practice that it has to do, it's not just breath, but there are also gestures and mantras, visualizations. There's the whole part of symbolism, and we can understand every passage. And after many years of studying, once I started studying the Tantra, Buddhist Tantra, like self-healing, it's much more logical than one would expect when we start getting into the Tantra, the Vajrayana, these visualizations, these so-called divinities. That's a bad translation. Deities. We have these forms, some of these recitations, mantras. Our tendency is to live it as if it were very mystical. Something is there that we can't explain, that we can't understand. But in reality, when you go deeper, you need some prerequisites as for understanding of knowledge. But my experience is that it becomes extremely logical and very grounded. There's nothing that can't be explained. It's very logical. And the positive thing is that one doesn't need to understand it for it to work. Yes, of course you can understand it, and that's wonderful. But just by doing it, experiencing it, the benefits are there. So our experience is fundamental beyond our understanding. So today and tomorrow, I didn't want to explain the practice because if we spend 2 days discussing it, then we don't actually experience. So I want to do the practice of self-healing together, and tomorrow more time for meditation, silent meditation, the practice of Guru Yoga that have to do there also be the preliminary practices and then the self-healing practice. We have the good luck today that we have recordings, videos, and there are many courses that have been given on the preliminary practice, on explanations of meditation, on our breath, also courses on self-healing. These are not things that one understands right away. And I just take advantage to say one thing, otherwise I risk forgetting it. One of the great difficulties that I find in sharing certain aspects of meditation and philosophy is that when we take Buddhist teachings and we transmit them in our Western world, we've done something that on one side is wonderful and on the other side is something quite limiting. We explain the Buddhist philosophy, meditation, using terms that that we use in our everyday life, just common terms. When, for example, in the Tibetan language, if we study Buddhist teachings, a big part of the teaching are about learning new terms because they're concepts that we don't use in our daily life. So when we talk about Buddhist philosophy and meditation and teachings, someone who has not studied that, in Tibetan, one doesn't understand anything. They're words that don't exist in daily life. But what happens is, when we translate, we also use words that we know that have other meaning and that may not necessarily correspond, and we get confused. This is a reality. It makes it more accessible, but on the other side, we lose depth because we use terms that are not completely appropriate. We should make new terms. This is just a quick side note, because when we want to understand things, we need to dedicate time for study, to reading, listening, reflecting. There's a whole path of study. It's not just hearing something once and that brings perfect comprehension. So let's start with our experience, and then little by little we can understand what's good about teaching the Dharma. What's good about teaching the Dharma using words is that it's much more accessible, and then when one wants to deepen one's understanding, one will learn the new terminology and do a kind of reset and it's just a reality that is there, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. We can talk about this again in the future. Just to say that we need calm and space and time to deepen our knowledge, and I think take time to understand. And in the Asian way of teaching is a way. It's more like a spiral than a direct straight line. One goes around, round, round, and it seems like you're doing the same thing over and over again. But little by little, you're going up instead of one straight line that doesn't come back to itself. One is just going forward, forward. Instead, that the Oriental Asian way of teaching is more of a spiral. And then, so when you're able to do one thing well, then you're able to do many things well. It's like the story of this boy who wanted to learn Chinese calligraphy. He already knew. He spoke Chinese. He knew Chinese medicine. He met a master who not only was not only a master of Chinese medicine, but also of calligraphy. And normally he wouldn't teach Westerners, but at a certain point, he said, "Okay, I'll teach you also calligraphy. And come this day and this time we'll do the first lesson." So he had his first lesson of calligraphy, and the master taught him the first ideogram, the first character. And he shows him how to do it. I can't remember which one it was. He says, "Thank you." He says, "Okay, do this one. This is the first lesson." Then the next lesson, the teacher has him do the same ideogram as before. I said, oh, okay. Second lesson. Third lesson, same one, same character. And he stayed on the same ideogram for more than 1 year. For his good luck, he was very patient. And and every time he went there, he had him do the same one. And then when he went beyond his own frustration, he was able to really relax. At a certain point, he was able to do it spontaneously, naturally, without having to think. When he was able to do it perfectly, without any tension. And then one day, that day, the master taught him all the others. And he was able to do them all perfectly. This is the Asian way. Instead, we in the West, we like we want to consume, we want to use up knowledge. We don't want to experience it. And if one learns one learns how to meditate well on one thing, all the other types of meditations come. They come much more easily. You focus on one aspect, and instead, we like to have a certain control. We want to use up, consume all this conscious. And with this, I don't mean to say that you'll stay on inhale, exhale for 3 years. We'll learn different techniques, but allow yourselves the time to experience. Now we'll take a break for lunch. At 3, we'll do the ceremony outside.
Drowe minsela takto ne gyuröchi kewa kuntu yanda lama dang drame cheki pela longche chin sadan lamge yunten rabzo ne dorje change kopa nyurtobe sho nimo dele tsendele nime kuyan delek shin ninsen takto delek pe kuncho sumke chinge lo kuncho sumke ngodrubutso kuncho sumke trashisho.
At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the 3 jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness.
Bon appetit.
Have a good lunch. One last thing at 5:30, we will do the Guru Puja dedicated specifically to Trijang Rinpoche. 5:30, I wanted to ask those of you who stay later, please come after to say hello, because I have an appointment and we have a short time now for lunch. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.